Things Black with Garland and Calvin. I'm Calvin. That is Garland, and we are back for the 2022, and we start
Yeah.
off the year talking about This Is Us episodes 1 and 2. We took a little break last week because it was our birthday week. How was your birthday, Garland?
Hey man, the double nickel, 55. What can I say, man? Feeling great. Don't I don't even look 55. I'm an old 25. So I'm
You
lying,
call
but
yours
yeah.
you call yours the double nickel. I'm gonna start calling mine the double Angelou because I'm 50 and that's 2 quarters, and we know my Angelou is now on
Right,
some of the
right,
quarters. So I'm the
right.
double Angelou,
The
you
double
know.
Angelou. I'll let you
Yeah,
have
man. The birthday
it.
week was pretty nice for me. Also, if you don't know, Garland's is January the 4th, and I'm January the 6th. So that
Mhm.
was last week. So we decided just to take the break, and then we'll come back fresh and we'll discuss 2 episodes of This Is Us. This is the final season of that, so we'll get into that. I thought they were pretty good episodes.
Yeah, pretty decent.
You like the Garland?
I like the second episode as opposed to the season premiere, but it's This Is Us, so they building up to some craziness. So, all is good.
Always building up to some craziness.
Hmm. All is
So
good.
as you know, you can definitely interact with us. We'll see your chat on the side. So give us your thoughts as we're talking. We look at some, we'll talk about some, but if not, then we'll just be talking to ourselves, which we do anyway. We're used to it. But anyway, let's get started.
Let's do it. All right. Let's start with the first episode. Since we're doing 2 episodes tonight, we didn't do the premiere last week because, as Calvin said, we were celebrating birthdays. And so let's start with the Challenger. Now, the season 6 premiere, which was entitled The Challenger, explores memory loss issues and space shuttle tragedies. This is Us sixth season and final season premiere doesn't go quite so far as to agree that the Challenger explosion is the biggest defining event in the Big Three's young lives. But it does use the real world 1986 tragedy as a way to explore the central coping mechanisms that have defined these characters over the past six seasons. Kate is optimistic to the point of being naive, excuse me. Randall represses his own feelings under a compulsive sense of responsibility towards others. And Kevin lives in denial to the point of delusion. And so this premiere doesn't revisit the future timeline where Rebecca is on her deathbed or even the near future timeline where Kate is marrying her boss, Philip, which was one of the major reveals of last season's finale. And so we see Kevin and Madison, they're struggling to set boundaries in their somewhat awkward co parenting relationship after calling off their wedding. Kate and Toby are trying to make a part time long distance relationship work now that he has a job that requires him to be in San Francisco 3 days a week. And Randall is using that harrowing season 4 home invasion to fuel his next steps as a councilman. And Rebecca, she's dealing with worsening memory loss condition, which is confirmed to involve plaques building in on her brain. And so let's go ahead to some questions. Let's talk about a couple of things. Now, how old were you, Calvin, when the Challenger exploded? And where did you get the news?
13 years old in middle school. And just like they showed in the elementary school, you know, how they roll
Right.
in the TV, they had that big TV stand they roll in. So, yeah, I was 13 in middle school when it happened. And I remember it vividly because
Mhm.
one of the things that I've always remembered is that Ronald Mcnair, who was a black astronaut, was
Mhm.
on there. I wasn't quite a hotep back then, but I was still kind of into black people. And of course, that was the first teacher to go into space, Kristen McAuliffe, that didn't make it, of course. But yeah, I remember that vividly. And now, what I will say is, I wasn't on the end of Kevin, where he kind of seemed to put it in the back of his mind and then eventually say it wasn't real. But it didn't impact me like it impacted a whole lot of people. I didn't feel sad. I wasn't happy. I was just kind of like, wow, I can't believe it happened, but I wasn't very sad about it. And a lot of people were. A lot of people were in tears. I looked at it as, wow, it's a tragedy. I think by then, maybe I had already seen Ronald Reagan being shot at, and
Right. Right.
just and then listening to stories from my parents, just black trauma. So it didn't really hit me hard. It still hit me as something to remember, like I never forgot it, but it didn't really hit me real hard.
Yeah, 1986. I was and I'm trying to think. Did this happen in
85,
the
80, was it
80?
85?
It was
85.
86. It was 86.
86?
It was
Then I was
86.
14,
It
still
was
in middle
14.
school, but yeah.
Okay. And did it happen in the fall or was that in the spring? I think it might have
I
been in the
that I
fall.
that
It
I
had to be
don't
school weekend.
remember. What I do remember is that I always kept saying maybe it blew up because if you, uh, for some reason, had some, I was boiling some water for like tea or something in a glass, in a
And the glass
glass,
got
yeah,
burst.
and it
Yeah.
all went out. And when I poured the water in it to put more water in it, it busted at the bottom. So of course, when the Challenger blew up, I was like, they were talking about ice being on the boosters, and then that heat hit that ice, it
Right.
probably blew it up in the air. You couldn't tell me. I knew everything. I'd tell you what
Well, I'm
happened.
thinking I was probably finishing up my freshman year of college. And so I was a freshman at Hampton University. And it's funny because Hampton is in the area of a lot of naval bases and army bases. As a
Hmm.
matter of fact, Fort Eustis, they do a lot of launches down there. A lot of the people who work on space shuttle stuff work in that area. And so, but I don't remember seeing it on TV. More than likely, I probably was in class, in college, they don't roll in no TV to watch the space shuttle. And so I don't remember being necessarily impacted by it. I just remember like, wow, that's kind of sad. I knew that Ronald Mcnair, the Qs were upset. Ronald Mcnair was a member of the Omega Psi Phi fraternity, and
I
so
didn't know that.
that, yeah, yeah, and so a lot of them was kind of like, oh wow, he was Omega, or whatever. But other than that, it was just kind of something like, wow, I can't believe it. As many times that they've been up. One of the major conspiracy theories that we used to have in college was, yo, they be going up to the moon and they don't tell nobody. You be watching the news and all of a sudden you be seeing like the space shuttle returns, like, yo, when did they leave? And so
Hmm.
this was like one of those times. It was kind of like it happened so often, you didn't necessarily pay too much attention to it. And so that tragedy definitely did kind of open it up, like, oh wow, this is something, that could happen. And so let's talk a little bit about the characters. Now, what do you think about this arrangement between Kevin and Madison? And do you think it's going to work?
So nah.
Mhm.
First of all, Kevin's living in the garage, bro. Yeah, yeah,
Right.
like yeah, yeah,
You're the man.
famous Hollywood actor. Yeah, like what are you doing? Like you don't need to live in the garage. You could literally buy a house across the street or
Right.
around the corner or like a garage. Plus I when she had a little friend in there, I was feeling Kevin on that. I was with Kevin, like, yo, what is you doing? Like, who are
Right.
you? Oh, you slim to be talking to me. Like
Right.
Kevin kept
Right.
it cool though, but I think and we saw that Kevin realized at the end, people said I was crazy. He kind of looked like, yeah, I'm crazy. Can't this ain't gonna work. So nah,
Right.
you can't do that. You just can't do that. It doesn't work.
Yeah, New Bay is gonna have an impact. He, like, hey, I can help you with the dishes. He hanging a little extra, helping to clean up and whatnot. Kevin, you just the manny in the garage, my man.
Kevin should have hit him in his mouth.
Why would Kevin hit him in the? Yo, Kevin blew it. Kevin, though, he don't want Madison. The only reason why he would want Madison is somebody else wants Madison, and that's been
So
Kevin's life.
what? So what? Should hit him
Come
right in
on,
his
man.
mouth.
just like Nathan should have hit. No, anyway. All right, that's the other
You-
show. I'm over it. I'm over it. It's but yeah, that's the only reason why Kevin is all like, hold up. Why is this guy? Oh, you don't want me to stay? And no, Kevin, it's your regular MO. You only want a person when somebody else wants that person. When you feel like it's competition, now all of a sudden you sensitive and you want to be all, oh, yeah, he had his chance. Thank you, Lynn. He had his chance and he knew he didn't love her. So, she's with the nerd dude. She's gone to the other extreme. You had your chance, Kevin. You blew it. You blew it. So get over it. Old boy gonna be there. Get used to old boy being from the book club. Used to him. You gonna come in. You gonna catch them. Probably having a tongue fight, whatever. But get over it.
He gonna be from the book club when he get upside his head with a book.
They're gonna be, oh my god. Kevin don't read no books, so he ain't got nothing to worry about. Kevin probably don't know what a book
That's
looks like.
yeah, that's true.
That's true. Now, why does Randall always try to save the world? What's this thing with Randall and this hero complex that he has?
Yeah, I don't know, but I think not just me. I think there are a few people that realized after that opening episode that we root for Randall, but Randall's not a very likable character. Like he just
No.
does some things that just makes you say, "Sir, what are you doing?" First of all, Beth is just there, just like this is all you, son. What you trying to do?
I'm trying to give you
And
the birthday gift that keeps on giving.
you want to
And we
go?
already talked
You
about
want
it.
to
It's
go
just
to
a
the
birthday gift.
courthouse?
But from her, it's a birthday gift. Yeah. You want to go to the courthouse? What?
Want to go to the
You
courthouse?
can get whatever you want. She telling you the store's open today, babe.
Yeah.
I want to go to
And now and shout out to Beth for understanding who Randall is
the
because any other woman would have been like, "Oh, okay then." Okay. And that birthday gift would have been given to someone
locked up.
else.
You wear that key, like, okay, let me go ahead and lock this up.
Yeah,
You know how your parents used to say the kitchen is closed at your mother used to say the kitchen's closed after a certain
exactly.
time. You try to come back, like you better eat this dinner now because the kitchen closed later. Nah, bro, you trying to come back like, okay, well, can I still nah, shawty, kitchen closed. You don't want none of this treat. Yeah,
Yeah.
Randall just he's always maybe it's the complex of being adopted and we went through that in the previous, him finding his mother, of course, him, him and his father's relationship and all those things. He just has this save a hole complex. He's Captain Save a Hole.
He really is. He really is.
He really is.
Maybe just trying to empathize with people that don't have anyone else. Maybe he feels like, he wants to stand up for everyone. I mean, he did become the councilman because he wanted to work for the people. So he's trying to individually do it. I don't know, but some people and you don't necessarily want to say some people are better left to rot, but some things are just better left not being touched. The law got them. Let them handle it. Like he caused you and your family trauma. There's really no forgiveness in that. And even if there is, not so soon. I just don't. I don't. Yeah, Randall's kind of like my kids say sometimes. Randall's kind of irky.
Right.
Just really irky.
Yeah, they said my kids said he's doing the most. You're doing a little bit too much, yo. Fall back, fall back. Let's see, Lynn. He said he was saved and wants to save everyone else. So yeah, he
Yeah, I get it.
definitely
Yeah, I
has
get it.
the savior complex of trying to save. He's bringing the kittens home that are outside that are abandoned, and so yeah, he has this need to feel that he needs to be loved. He wants to earn love, and so I can agree with that. And so let's go ahead and jump to the next episode because the first episode, like I said, it was kind of tame, was kind of just opening up these people that going back into life and whatnot. But let's talk about One Giant Leap. Now, Deja
Well,
and go ahead.
real quick before we go to the next episode, that whole Kate scene
Oh, didn't I
with her
mention?
boss, and she came in with the argument and everything, and
Mm-hmm.
the boss got them to sing to her. I've talked about the look that the women give the men and some of the other things we've done. Did you see the look that the man gave to Kate when he saw Kate being happy about them kids singing? He gave her that look. So
Like,
we already
yeah,
know what's going to happen, how it's going to end up, but that was the telltale sign. Kate didn't see it. Somebody might have seen it. Plus, he just broke up with the girl that he was seeing. which I like how he did. He was like, basically, it's me, it's not you, and he gave all the reasons why it was him. But anyway, moving on to the next episode.
Well, it always makes me laugh when that's the old player line we used to use back. It's not you, it's me. I need to work on me. That's so much BS. It's I have somebody else that I want, and you're kind of in the way.
Basically,
Yeah, basically. And
basically.
so now let's talk about One Giant Leap. Now Deja and Nikki they take parallel road trips and reach major turning points. In an episode that was flush with themes on first loves, taking risks, and coping with life changes, it's Nikki, Rebecca, and Miguel, your favorite character, who take center stage in one storyline, and Deja and Malik in another. Now, Deja's secret trip to visit Malik primes us for melodrama, only to serve up something wonderfully understated instead. And Nikki's impulsive road trip to see Sally promises some type of fantasy, only to deliver a much more realistic take on romance and romanticism. And so let's start with Deja. Deja pulls the classic teen move of telling her parents she's staying with a friend when she's actually heading off to visit her boyfriend. Now, this is otherwise an episode that emphasizes Deja's maturity as well. And we saw a little bit of that. She doesn't lose her cool when Malik's ex-girlfriend Jennifer greets her with a passive aggressive cold shoulder. Oh, you had paper to work on. Right. And she's gracious and understanding when it comes to the fact that Malik needs to spend some of her visit finishing his Harvard classwork. And I want to give a shout out to Deja because she finally let Malik clap them cheeks. And so let me ask you this, Calvin. She did. She finally let Malik clap the cheeks.
They're children. What are you doing? They're children. Doing?
So our girl Deja line and stuff, everybody has a share a brief story of the time you did something similar. You told moms you was going one place. Moms ain't watching. It ain't gotta be long. You ain't even gotta put no names out there. Cause I'm gonna share my story. I ain't gonna put no names out there either. A similar story where you lied to go hook up, and did you eventually get caught?
I mean, how much time do you have, bro? I got stories on top of stories.
Tell
Like,
your
what do
best
you?
one.
So I told one day I was in school, high school. I called,
Hmm.
was sick, had the nurse call my mom and had me come home. I was just really just coming home to meet my little girlfriend. So my little girlfriend came over, and I don't know what it is about when you're young, but well, I ain't gonna say having sex, doing it on your
Doing
parents'
it.
bed is, I don't know
Right.
what it was about that. I had a
It's
little
the
twin
biggest
bunk
bed in the
bed,
house. It's
but
the
yeah,
biggest
I
bed in
went
the
on the
house.
king bed and we did it, whatever. So I walked her to the bus stop, and the bus stop was across the street. And as I'm coming back across the street, I see my mother coming across the street and yelling, "I knew you weren't sick. I knew such." Then she said, "I knew there was a reason you was cleaning up yesterday, so I must have been cleaning up for the little girlfriend to come over, whatever." So my mother fussed at me all the way in the house, and I don't know what I was doing. And I said, "Do I said we ain't do nothing?" She came over to make sure I was all right, this and that. Then my mother came in the room about 10 minutes later. It was like, "I found this on my bed and I know it ain't mine." And it was a condom. And I couldn't do nothing but just laugh, bro. I was just like, oh, I was like, wow, condom. So, I
Wow.
just, hey, but at least she knew I was being safe. I mean, it's whatever, but, I
Right.
lied. I lied. It's whatever, you know. That was the past. I ain't got to lie now. Nah.
Right. You ain't got to lie now. I think I might have been in the 10th grade. And I said I was going to, my parents were separated at the time. So I think I may have said I was going to my father's house or something like that, his apartment. And I had a girlfriend at the time. As a matter of fact, just want to shout out her memory. She just passed away, as a matter of fact, over the weekend and all. I've been battling. So, and we became good friends down through the years and stuff. But I caught the bus, and it was must have been a snowstorm or something. And so I caught the bus to our house, the things that you do, to be with women, and was over there, and we just having a great time at her house. And then all of a sudden, she got a call from a mutual family friend. And the person was like, "Oh yeah, have you seen Garland today?" And she was like, no. It's like, "Oh, so what you doing?" It's like, "Oh, I'm just sitting here playing cards." We were actually playing like some cards or something, doing something. And she's like, "Oh, you playing by yourself? You playing solitaire?" She's like, "Oh yeah, 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 I'm playing solitaire, whatever." And so this just set off like a whole bunch of alerts, like, "Oh God, they looking for me. They know that I ain't go to where I said I was going." And so eventually I leave. I didn't leave immediately, but I left maybe an hour or two later and caught the button. So I'm thinking, okay, what can I say? What lie am I going to tell to cover this? And I forgot. Even I said something, or it was something dumb, and they was like, "You so stupid. We already knew you were over so and so's house. That's why so and so called. This, that, and the other." It just got all snuffed out, and yeah, needless to say, I ended up in punishment. Like that was my own. I always ended up in punishment. I think half my life as a child was spent in punishment. And so when you had the question of do you want the beating or the punishment, I was one of the give me the years. Don't
You got
give
a
me the
choice. You
sometimes.
got it. I
Sometimes you
used to
just
get
got
double.
sometimes you just get both. You get both.
Yeah, I used to get double dipped. I was just always
Yeah,
double
yeah.
dipped. Then
Sometimes
when the beatings didn't work, I got sent to my father's house. So yeah,
right. And so
it was
yeah,
whatever.
I would get the I got sent to my aunt and uncles. And so yeah, yeah, that's something, but it's always funny about those lies. You always wind up getting caught. Some
You
way,
do,
somehow,
you do.
you always wind up, it always winds up coming back on you. And we saw a little bit of maybe that's going to come back on Deja in the next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to I want to give the writers kind of a shout out for This Is Us for how they handled Deja and Malik, because at any moment it could be the same old scenario, and it never is. And granted, she snuck up there, so she meets his kid's mom, but even though the kid's mom is a little short with him, she's never rolling her eyes at Deja. She's never giving Deja that cold shoulder. The normal story would be like, "Oh, so you with this B and all this." She
Right.
never
Right.
does any of that. She introduces herself. She tells it was nice to meet her. Her beef is with Malik, and that's how she handles it. She never says you got this girl around my child. She never does any of that. Also, when she gets there, she could be like, "Oh, so you spending your time with her, this and that, or you got to go do some work. You ain't got time for me." They don't do that. When Malik is there, Malik doesn't, usually they go see someone in college, especially their first year, they got another girl or something lurking around. None of that. Malik has work to do, and he does his work. I mean, they don't fall into the normal stereotypes of young people in TV shows and in movies. They don't fall into none of that. And I'm real proud of that, especially
Yeah, I
with the black
appreciate that
kids.
too. Yeah, I appreciate that too because it could have got catty. You could have took it like,
Yeah,
could have got chicken neck.
absolutely.
Definitely, definitely. Now, let's talk about Nikki. Now, Nikki is in full on lovesick teenager mode. After their surprise arrival, Nikki, Rebecca, and Miguel quickly learn that Sally's memories of Nikki are hazy at best, and she's married to a man named Eric. Nevertheless, they are invited to stay for the most awkward meal of all time. Now, where a conversation about the mental load of sweating the small stuff builds into a painfully raw sharing of long repressed feelings and frustrations. Now, this trip, it does grant Nikki a different sense of peace and closure. He realizes that the years he spent looking for Sally gave him a sliver of hope in his darkest moments. And the fact that he made her wall of old photographs is meaningful enough. Now he's finally freed from the burden of unrequited love, and he finds himself open to the spark with a flight attendant named Edie, little brown sugar for him, who does wind up being the person he's married to in the future. And so, what are your thoughts on Nikki the Stalker?
Wait, did you call him the stalker?
Nikki, that what he did was stalker. It was stalkerish, and we're gonna talk about we're gonna share our
It
stalker
absolutely was.
moments, but it was stalker. So what's your thoughts on Nikki the stalker?
He absolutely was a stalker. Of course, they turned it to try to make it a cute story. That dinner was way awkward. It was just like no one could say anything right. I really thought the husband was going to slap Nikki in his mouth at some point.
Right.
He didn't, but we finally found out, because I think we've all had this question since the 80s. We finally found out that who these people are that don't like the way that Sally walks, and it's clearly her husband Eric. Eric
Hmm.
does not like the way that Sally walk. He's the some people.
I like that.
Um,
That's a is that a reference to Stetsasonic in the song? For
oh
some
yeah,
people don't
yeah,
like the way.
yeah,
Okay, thank you,
absolutely.
thank you. All
Shout
right,
out, shout out
shout
back to
out.
Stats. If you can't say it all, just
Go
say
Stet.
Stat. Yeah.
Go ahead, man.
But no, yeah. So you know, they turned it cute. It was pretty
Hmm.
stalkerish. I actually like the storyline. Nikki needs some joy. Nikki is always, he's awkward. He has the PTSD thing going on.
Right.
And Nikki doesn't get many wins. The one thing I don't like is that he's cool with Miguel. Uh,
We're gonna
you
talk
know,
about your boy Miguel in a minute.
yeah, he's cool with Miguel, and because I don't really like Miguel. But yeah, I like Nikki. Rebecca got her time in with Sally also. But I thought it's definitely stalkerish, but I thought it was a nice way to bring Nikki back into the fold.
Yeah, that because I thought he, once he revealed that, no, I just went on the internet, I googled, and I thought this was. I'm like, yo, there's a thin line between shooting your shot and being a stalker. To me, it is a very thin line because a lot of people might have looked at this like when we looked at, the whole Lawrence thing and secure of him confronting Issa at the cookout, we really looked at it as him shooting his shot, but it could have came off kind of like forceful stalker-ish. And I think there's that thin line. And Nikki definitely was had his toes on it because it was stalker until she was kind of like, oh, okay, and then she accepts it. It's not as stalker-ish as it initially sets out. And so let me stare my toe on the line stalker story. I was in college and I'm trying to think. There was this girl that I was crushing on, and I lived off campus, and she lived off campus too. And we kind of lived in almost the same neighborhood off campus. And so I was walking by her place one day. And this, I didn't do it often, but this particular day, I was walking by her place and I'm like, yo, I'm just going to go up to the house and knock on the door and, I'm going to see what's up. And I did it. And it's crazy because she knew me. I knew her. We were in the same major. We were actually, in the same class and stuff. And I went up and I knocked and it was a dude there. Like, oh snap! Like it really looked so inappropriate and crazy. I don't know if I just walked off. I can't remember how it ended, but it didn't look good. And it was like, yo, that's don't ever just show up. Just because you can get your little feelings can get a little hurt. You show up and it's some super cool dude there that's like, oh, yo, what's up? And you standing outside looking kind of like, oh, yo, just drops by all the time. And yeah, you got to explain yourself. You ever had kind of like, not my situation, but, on that borderline?
I mean, how much time do we have?
That's a recurring
so,
thing.
so
You can
I'll
spend as
give you
long as you
one.
want.
So, shout out to the Gallery Mall, because this is where one of them happened at, and Gallery just closed down completely. It's been
Yeah.
closing down for a while, but it just completely officially closed down a couple weeks ago. But so there was a store in the Gallery. I believe it was called Dots. It was a woman's store.
Hmm.
I really can't remember if it was clothes or just fabric or material. And you know how the gallery's set up with the levels and you could
Yeah,
see over.
I can see it. Hmm.
So there was this chick that worked in that store that was just, my God. And she was that 90s fine. She had the little light skin with the wrap, and wore the
Right.
little. We used to wear the little brim hat and just the
Hmm.
short little shorts and the color block with the heels and color block blouse with the heels. Anyway, I used to stand on top of the one of the levels and just look down at her and try to get the courage to say something to her. But shit, I did this shit for like 2 weeks. You know what I mean? Now,
Uh-huh.
granted, not every day, but like when I would go down there because I worked down in the area, so I would go down and check out. So one day I just said, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go in there." So I rolled up in there and introduced myself, and I said, for the past couple weeks, I would come up every now and then and check you out, and had to build up the nerve to say hi. And we we dated for like a month or two. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah, it didn't quite work out because she was pretty weird. She was a weirdo, but we dated
You
for
couldn't
like a
tell.
month or two. No, you
Yeah,
can't
had
tell
she
just from
right, but
looking.
she didn't know you had been looking at her for 2 weeks. She didn't know you had been standing from a distance. Like,
Well, I told her, I probably didn't give her the intensity that it was. I probably was like, yeah, every now and then I would walk by and see you down there and was like, oh, she looks nice. I ain't tell her that, sometimes I would get something from Sbarro's and just get some
right.
pizza and just be like,
Yeah, yeah. So I'm glad that it worked out for Nikki. I think, a lot of times, sometimes we just need that closure to go ahead and move on. And I think for his
absolutely.
character, he needed to have that closure because he was always thinking of the what if I went with her to Woodstock? I should have went. I should have gotten the courage to go. And he needed to find out, that what if, how my life would look if I did this. I'm sure we've all had people in our lives where we've been kind of like what if I made that choice to stick out with that person or to pursue that relationship. And sometimes we just need to see it like, oh, wow, maybe I dodged a bullet. Or, maybe this, I made the right choice for me. And I think that was the case for, the character for Nikki.
Hmm.
Definitely. Now, let's close on talking about your boy, your favorite character, Miguel. Okay. Now, I think, we should have a low key celebration of Miguel. He's just about the only man in the Pearson family orbit who isn't a lot to deal with. Now, Miguel, he truly puts Rebecca first in a way that even Jack, with his showy performative love, never quite did. It's why Miguel can barely even process Rebecca's concern that instead of getting the showroom model of her, he got the used classic with a lot of miles. Now, Rebecca, she's worried she'll become a burden as she starts to lose her memories. But to Miguel, this is just another part of the life and the love that they carved out together. One that he's still happy to be the steady support system he's always been. And so, let me ask you this, Calvin. Are you ready to give Miguel his props?
Absolutely not. So the reason that Miguel has no problem with her, even if she loses her memory, is because she'll forget the fact that he was Jack's best friend and he was moving in on her the entire time, laying back in the cut, waiting for something to happen to Jack, and then he jumped on his woman. No, Miguel gets nothing from me. That whole, I believe Jack is somewhere giving us a blood. No, he ain't. No, he ain't. Jack is somewhere like, oh, kid, you're gonna let this happen, Rebecca, my
Jack
friend.
is in the
No,
spirit world
no,
mad. Is he going to come back like Ghost?
absolutely,
Is he going to be like Patrick
absolutely.
Swayze?
And let me tell you something else. Somebody just said that they love
Calvin
Miguel.
Cruz.
Who said they love Miguel? Who's that?
I think it was Lynn. Lynn said
So let
she's
me tell you, let me tell you something, Lynn. Let me tell you about the narcissist that you like. If no one else caught it, I caught it with the whole. Sometimes I look at the brush because I'm just like, when is my hair going to fall out? Because my hair, that's my thing. Over the years, I may have had 7 strands of hair fall out. So what, Miguel? You 38,000 years old. No one cares. You know what? To hell with Miguel. Oh, that's gonna rhyme. I'm gonna have that on the poster.
well
To
with
hell with
Miguel.
Miguel. I do not know. Miguel will never
I,
get
I
any
think
props
I
from
think
me.
we need to start. I think you need to start having some. appreciation, Miguel. For real, Miguel is the rock. Miguel is there. He doesn't care about her. I mean, he cares about her losing her memory, but he's not caught up in, okay, well, I mean, yeah, I ain't losing my hair. I can get back out here and probably pull me something. But Miguel, he's solid. He don't let people run
Exactly.
over him. Just like Nikki. Nikki was trying to, Nikki always had something a little smart to say. Nikki always had something a little slick out his mouth to say. But finally, even Nikki has been won over. Like, oh, you know what? Yeah, I think my brother would be kind of.
That's exactly. I don't know what it is that Miguel is doing, but he's tricking them all. You know what? If
The
I
hell with
were
Miguel.
to hell with Miguel, it's right. If I was Randall, if I was Toby, if I was Kevin, I would watch my women because if they pass away, Miguel gonna move right in. Miguel gonna move right in and try to get their girls. I'm telling you, Miguel
Miguel, he
probably
did not
have,
try to. He did not try to move in and get Rebecca. It just happened. He was there for the family, and they just naturally, progressed to this love. Calvin, I think you need to let that go. Miguel is. He was not in the back scheming. Miguel just. It just happened to happen because he was. Miguel is the. Miguel is the glue friend. Miguel is
you
solid.
know
That's.
what?
We
I
all need
will.
some
I
Miguels in our life.
I will give Miguel props on one thing, and you were absolutely right. He got Nikki on his side, he got Kate on his side, but now he got you on his side. So clearly, clearly, whatever it is Miguel is doing, it's going through the TV, and even my dude Garland is all like, "Yeah, Miguel a solid dude." No, no, he ain't. No, he ain't.
I sound
No, he ain't.
again.
But you know what? I'm gonna let.
Miguel is
I'm gonna
solid
let.
dude.
I'm. I'm gonna let. I'm gonna let Miguel be y'all best friend because he ain't fooling me. He ain't fooling me.
Yeah, I saw that, Lynn. Lynn said there's actually going to be an episode about Miguel and Rebecca and how they fell out of touch and got. Yeah, I saw that as I was preparing for tonight's
Mhm.
episode. I mean, to our episode tonight. That one of the storylines that we're going to see in this final season is how Rebecca and Miguel got together and what happened and how this all came about. So,
We
maybe
we
that.
already know how they got together. Like I don't even listen. In my will, there's a line that says, "If you marry or get with Miguel, I'm haunting all y'all." So Katina already know. No
So,
Miguel.
using your theory, you think there's a Miguel in your life right now? That's going to be around. God forbid if you transition from this earthly body, that's going to be there for Katina. Have you identified that Miguel?
Oh my God. Let me tell you something. Ooh, oh, let me.
Thanks, Lynn, for tuning in. But yeah, is there going to be? Do you know if there's a Miguel?
There better not be. I'll just say that. There better not be. I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna chill.
All right. Well, okay. Well, that's the end. That's all I got for tonight. But other than that, this house is always it does its thing. Solid writing, solid and great episode. I'm looking forward to next week because Deja leaves the. I don't know. Come on, Deja, you're a teenager. I'm assuming she's a teenager. You know how to work your phone. Why you got the text reading on your phone talking about the bed is too big without you? This big. What are you doing? But anyway, so yeah, Deja, she about to face the wrath of Randall next week, and about to get exposed that she let Malik clap and so we'll see what happens with the fallout of that and all, and we see how Calvin progresses in his understanding of Miguel and how Miguel is the glue in the
I've
Pearson
I've
family.
all I've always been team against Miguel, so you know that's not going to happen. Did we notice that?
Tom,
You know how? Did we notice that? How Deja always calls Randall Randall or Commander or Captain, but in her
Mhm.
phone she has him as Dad. Did you notice
I
that? Did
noticed
you
that.
peep that?
I noticed that. I peeped that. I peeped that. I
Yeah,
mean,
good for
we
her.
know she loves Randall. We know, it's kind of like that parental love hate relationship. That's my dad, but I can't let him know that I love him. Pretty much how
And
my
the
life
older This Is
is.
Us is always nailing it with the older Deja. She looks the spitting image of her and
Yeah.
sounds just like a.
I'm sure, I
Um,
was looking at it. I was like, do you think they did some makeup to make her look old?
that's
Because
what I was
I'm
thinking. I
thinking
was
it's the
like, that
same
has to
person.
be makeup because
Yeah.
the voice and everything is just like a. And of course, shout out to Vanessa Bell Calloway. She's just
Oh yeah. She
one of them
black on
actresses
crack.
that just exactly. She just stays around. She's always working, and I would venture to say that her and Nikki are probably around the same age, and he looks so much older than her. I
Right.
mean, like you said, Black don't crack. She looks amazing. Shout out to her.
Yeah, but white gets wrinkled. So black don't crack, but white gets wrinkled. And so yeah, she definitely looks great. And we never saw who drove up in the car. So we are assuming that the person who was driving up in the car was Malik.
Well, I thought that's when Vanessa Bell Calloway got out. Was it someone
Yeah,
else?
because Randall kept on saying, "Oh, how's things going?" As he was like saying that Deja didn't come by herself, or I'm not sure. I had to go back and look at it, but I was thinking that maybe he was assuming. I'm assuming that Malik was with her. Maybe Malik was the person driving the car, and he dropped them off, and maybe Edie came up. I'm not quite sure, but we'll see. We'll see as this. I want to see what happens in the future. I want to see how this all plays out.
Absolutely,
Definitely,
absolutely.
definitely.
Any closing thoughts? I got one. I got
Go ahead.
one.
I'm a yield to you.
I'm gonna have to. Okay, you know what? Let me get in here, and I went and I saw Lawrence the other day, and I had to take the
Oh
belt back
God,
from him. I had to take the
yeah,
belt
that's your
back
boy.
because
Suspect.
I was with them and all, but Lawrence got on social media.
Mm-hmm.
He got on Kodak Black's social media and
Mm-hmm.
started dressing his homeboys up as women and rating them. I,
Yeah, I saw. It. I immediately and was like, "This is
I,
Calvin's king."
I, I,
This is your king.
yeah. So I still think he's the right choice for Issa, but I, yeah, I your homeboys on social media, you are literally rating them. You're putting wigs and makeup on them, and you are rating them. And what makes it even worse, if you were gonna rate him, you should have just been like, he ugly. He even uglier. He should do the He was literally like, oh yeah, he hot. Yeah,
You would never see
no more.
Kendrick Sampson do that. Never
Yeah,
see
no,
Kendrick Sampson do that.
no. I got nothing. I got nothing. I got nothing.
That's your boy. That's your king, man. That's your man. That's your man's. That's your man. So that's all I got. I ain't even got a closing today because that's it. I saw it. I like, oh my lord. Mm, I don't, yeah. I'm sorry,
Really
man.
bad.
I'm sorry. I'm
Really,
sorry.
really bad. Really disappointed. But anyway, everybody, thank you for joining us this evening. Of course, we will be back next Wednesday at 7
Yes.
when we discuss episode 3, and it will just be the single episode at this time. So we'll get into episode 3 really deeply.
Hmm.
And until then, we want everybody to be safe. And this is All Things
Yes.
Black with Garland and Calvin. I am Calvin. That guy that likes Miguel is Garland. And we will see you
Miguel's
all
buddy.
next week. To hell with Miguel.
All right,
Have
man.
a good one.
Peace.
Later, man.
Good night. Later. Good night, everybody.